How to use polyrhythms in phrasing. Have you ever listened to a piece of music and felt that it had an unusual, yet captivating rhythm? That sensation often comes from the use of polyrhythms, where two or more contrasting rhythms are played simultaneously. This technique can add depth and complexity to your music, making it more engaging for listeners. But how can you incorporate polyrhythms into your phrasing effectively? First, it is essential to understand what polyrhythms are. A polyrhythm occurs when different rhythmic patterns are layered on top of each other. For example, one instrument might play in a pattern of 3 beats, while another plays in a pattern of 4 beats. This creates a rich texture that can enhance your musical expression. To start using polyrhythms in your phrasing, begin by selecting a simple rhythm that you are comfortable with. This could be a basic 4/4 signature, which is common in many musical styles. Once you have established your primary rhythm, choose a contrasting rhythm to layer on top. A common choice is a 3/4 pattern, where one part plays 3 beats in the same duration that another part plays 4 beats. Next, practice playing both rhythms separately until you feel confident with each one. Once you are comfortable, try to combine them. It can be helpful to use a metronome or a drum machine to keep a steady pulse while you experiment with layering the 2 rhythms. Start slowly, allowing yourself to feel how the rhythms interact with one another. As you become more familiar with polyrhythms, consider how they can influence your phrasing. Think about how you can use these rhythms to create tension and releases in your music. For instance, you might build up a phrase using a polyrhythm and then resolve it with a more straightforward rhythm to create a satisfying contrast. Another approach is to use polyrhythms to highlight specific sections of your music. For example, during a chorus or a climactic moment, you can introduce a polyrhythmic element to elevate the energy. This can make those moments stand out and draw the listener's attention. Lastly, remember that practice is key. Experiment with different combinations of rhythms and phrases. Listen to various genres of music that utilize polyrhythms, such as African drumming, jazz, or progressive rock, to gain inspiration. The more you explore, the more comfortable you will become with integrating polyrhythms into your own phrasing. In conclusion, using polyrhythms in your phrasing can transform your music, adding layers of interest and complexity. By starting with simple rhythms, practicing layering, and considering how these rhythms can enhance your musical expression, you will be well on your way to mastering this technique.